We are very, very excited about all the work everyone's been doing across the entire London team, whether it's for Afiz or for Peter or for Mahmoud or just for Canada. You guys are stepping up in a big way to make the right choice. I want to thank everyone who came out, everyone who's been working over these past weeks as well. We've got a few more days to go where we keep needing to knock on doors, make sure that people see the clear choice that are facing the clear choice that is facing Canadians right now. Obviously, the first priority has to be ending this pandemic for good, and on that, we need unequivocal, determined leadership. It has become crystal clear over the past weeks that Erin O'Toole is not willing to lead on vaccines. He is so busy trying to make room for anti-vaxxers in his big tent party that he can't actually even demand that his own candidates be vaccinated, which doesn't make any sense because the only way through, if you're listening to science, if you're listening to experts, if you're listening to the doctors who've been there on the front line since the beginning of this pandemic, is to make sure that everyone gets vaccinated. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Everyone on planes and trains needs to get vaccinated. We're going to foot the bill for the vaccine passports that people are going to be putting in provinces across the country, with Saskatchewan and Alberta finally stepping up as well. We know that that's the way we're going to get through it. Unfortunately, Mr. O'Toole is not even condemning his own candidates that are distributing anti-vax disinformation, that are going into seniors' homes without being fully vaxxed. It's not the kind of leadership we need to get through this pandemic, because it's not just about the health crisis, it's about how we build an economy that is better as quickly as possible. And you can't do that if we don't end the pandemic. But it's more than just his choice on vaccines. His choice on childcare, on supporting women, makes no sense either. Again, he says he wants to rebuild an economy, but he's not doing the things that are necessary. We know when women get back into the workforce, when there's better childcare that's affordable, that's high quality, right across the country, the economy grows, as well as opportunities for families and kids. On ne peut pas avoir un plan pour l'économie si on n'a pas un plan pour les garderies abordables à travers le pays. C'est ce que M. O'Toole ne comprend pas. La réalité, c'est que sur ça et sur bien d'autres choses, il n'est pas en train de faire les bons choix et les Canadiens ne veulent pas revenir en arrière. Another issue, obviously, we talked about it a lot during this campaign, with a lot of incredulity, I'll be honest, from Canadians who couldn't believe that Mr. O'Toole made a deal with the gun lobby to re-legalize the assault weapons that we banned last year. You know, it doesn't make any sense. He's continuing to try and say, oh, well, we're going to do a review. Well, you know, the weapons are banned. If you're going to work on a review with gun owners, it's to bring some of them back. And, of course, he won't tell us which assault weapons he's going to be bringing back, which is a real lack of openness and honesty with Canadians. But we've seen it every step of the way. He's in the pocket of special interests, whether it's anti-vaxxers, whether it's climate deniers, whether it's the anti-choice MPs, 80 of whom voted against a woman's right to choose in the last Parliament. These are the things we need to make sure we are standing up unequivocally on, and that makes the choice very clear. And on climate change, let's be honest, even as we're going through this crisis of the pandemic, we're being hit with a lot of different crises. We've seen a rise in systemic discrimination, in racism. Of course, our heart continues to break for the Afzal family here in London, where we need to stand up unequivocally against intolerance and hate, and stand with our Muslim brothers and sisters across this country, because that is not the country we want to build. We need to make sure we're standing on the crises that are hitting right now at Western University, where thousands of students are marching because it's not okay. It's not okay for women to feel unsafe in their classrooms, in their workplaces. We have taken strong stands as a Liberal Party. We will continue to. it also sort of breaks my heart because my first time visiting Western University was about 30 years ago when I was a McGill student. And 30 years ago, I was part of the McGill Student Society, the McGill Sexual Assault Center of the Student Society, one of the early and first volunteers who were male working with the Sexual Assault Center to make sure we're getting out the message on communication, consent, countering date rape, informing across campus of the challenges we're being faced. And unfortunately, we see 30 years later, there's still not enough progress to do. Thank you to the students who are out there marching, saying this has to change. Our government will be there with you. So the crises we're facing as a country on so many different levels are huge, but we need to take the same engagement, the same passion, the same presence Canadians had for each other during this pandemic, being there to support each other, being there to protect our elders, being there to help our frontline workers who were burning themselves out to keep us alive and still are. We need to support each other. We need to step up on challenging those crises. And no crisis globally is bigger right now than the continued crisis of climate change. And that's where we need to continue to lead. You're all good Liberals, so you probably felt like me the frustration in the last election when people gave the NDP credit for having a strong and ambitious climate plan. Well, I said to myself, we're never doing that again. So we did the work. We rolled up our sleeves. We gathered together the top scientists across the country, drew on the best things that we'd learned in government and said, how do we go even harder, even faster, even stronger, not just on fighting climate change, but on ensuring that we're preparing our industries, our careers, our young people for the jobs of tomorrow. And that's exactly what we did. And that's why some of the top economists, climate scientists, and policy thinkers across the country, from former Green Party leader in BC to some of the top academics in the country, have come out and said the Liberal Party is the best, most serious, most ambitious plan to fight climate change Canada has ever seen from any party. We know we have to do more. We know we have to go farther, but we've done a lot already in these past 6 years to turn the page on Stephen Harper's failures on fighting against climate, from bringing in a price on pollution right across the country to protecting more of our lands and oceans than we ever have before by leaps and bounds, by banning single-use toxic plastics and moving forward even further. There is so much we've done, including in stepping up on some of the most ambitious targets we've ever seen, with a plan to reach them. But Mr. O'Toole wants to bring us back to Mr. Harper. And I can understand that the hesitation that so many progressives feel across the country as we get to this moment. It's like, you know, people who are thinking about maybe voting NDP are saying to themselves, well, it's really important to prevent O'Toole from winning the election, but I really want to vote for the party with the most ambitious plan on climate change. I really want to vote for the party with the most ambitious support for families, with the most ambitious support on housing. Well, good news for all those people who are wondering who to vote for, because take 5 minutes this weekend to look at our platform. We worked really, really hard to make sure that it was ambitious and concrete. And if you take 5 minutes, whatever it is that your priority is, whether it's climate change, whether it's support for families and childcare, whether it's attacking the housing crisis, you will see that there's no more dilemma. You can both vote for the best party to prevent O'Toole from becoming Prime Minister and the party with the best and most ambitious plan on the things that matter to progressives, and that, my friends, is the Liberal Party of Canada. Alors lundi, je compte sur vous, mes amis, ici à London et à travers le pays, de faire le bon choix, de vous mobiliser, d'encourager vos voisins, vos amis, votre famille, de sortir voter pour le Parti libéral. So I am calling on all of you, progressives across London, across the country, who want to move forward on the fight against climate change, who want to move forward on $10 a day childcare across the country, who want to move forward on supporting seniors and students, and a government that has an ambitious and realistic vision for the future. The choice on Monday is crystal clear. We need to choose forward for everyone. Merci beaucoup. Merci.
Kate.